trucks and hauling freight down the hills and round the bends. Oh, hey, Thomas and his friends.
Thomas the Tank Engine has worked his branch line for many years, and he knows his branch line very well. There are two other engines that help him out on his branch line. Toby the tram engine, and Percy the small engine. However, at the end of the branch line, there's a large set of points that lead off to the sheds. And mischievous engines like Bill and Ben like to play here. "See, Ben," said Bill, "it's easier to biff the trucks like this across the points." "Oh," said Ben, "like this?" "Yes," said Bill, "just like that. However, we might want to move it in case a train comes along." But it was too late. "Dang it, Bill and Ben," said Thomas. However, the two engines quickly scurried off. The passengers were okay, as well as Annie and Clarabelle. However, Thomas wasn't, and had to be repaired. And there were no other engines available, except for one. It was Mavis, the little quarry diesel. Soon she arrived at Farquhar. "Hello, Mavis," said Toby. "Glad to have you here in Thomas's place." "Yes," said Mavis. "However, I hope he gets well soon." "Oh, don't worry," said Percy. "I'm sure he'll be fine. Now let's all get to work." And so they did. However, it certainly took Mavis some time to learn about Annie and Clarabelle and pulling passengers. She had never done it before. However, soon she was getting the hang of it. "Beep beep. Hello, Thomas," said Mavis as she passed by the sheds. Thomas was furious at seeing Mavis pulling his coaches. "A diesel?" he said. But Mavis just carried on unbothered. Soon, however, Thomas was mended and back in working order. But he was a little bit scared of what the passengers would think about a diesel pulling his coaches. However, they were delighted, and so were Annie and Clarabelle to have Thomas back. "Mavis did well," said Annie to Thomas. "However, we're glad to have you back." "I'm glad to be back, Annie and Clarabelle," said Thomas, and he pulled out of the station. Later that day, Thomas came to see Mavis. "Oh, hello, Thomas," said Mavis. "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing well, Mavis," said Thomas. "Thanks for asking. By the way, I heard you enjoyed pulling my coaches." "Why, yes, I did," said Mavis. "Well, maybe I might be able to ask the pet controller if you can do it more often." "You could? That would be lovely, Thomas," said Mavis. "Thank you." "No trouble at all," said Thomas. Thomas left. And Mavis smiled, knowing that she had made friends with Thomas, and will now get to pull coaches from time to time.